to help make our home, the planet Earth, a better place to live.
Our story today is called The Two Benjamins. There's the Benjamin we've read so much about, one of the foremost founding fathers of our nation, Benjamin Franklin. Then there's that other Benjamin who, like Franklin, lived during those momentous days of revolutionary America when our forefathers were fighting so valiantly for the freedoms we share today. Benjamin Banneker, in his way, just as Ben Franklin, was a gentle, fearless, brilliant patriot who helped lay the cornerstone of America. Franklin was born in 1706 in Boston, capital of the colony of Massachusetts, at that time the biggest, busiest, and most important town in the colonies. When he was about 10, he went to work for his father, Hosea Franklin, a respectable but poor candle and soap merchant. Well, little Ben liked neither his father's shop nor the smell of candles. He preferred to play on the seashore with his pals or sit by himself and read. Oh, how he loved to read. One of his favorite books was Robinson Crusoe, and that fit right in with his early ambition to become a sailor.
No, my son, I will not have it. You must find an occupation more satisfactory than that of a sailor.
But, Father, I don't want the usual kind of life. I want something better, something bigger.
One must be satisfied with small occupations if they're worthy and honest.
They would not satisfy me.
And yet, I want my children to do work they like. And this sets me to thinking about you, Ben. I believe I know what to do with you now. Since you're so fond of stories in print, why not learn the printer's trade? You can go to work for James.
James was an older brother who had a printing business in Boston. So at the age of 12, Ben went to work as an apprentice for his brother. When his brother started a newspaper, Ben helped to print it, then deliver the finished copies to the customers. When he was 17, Ben ran away from Boston. He traveled by foot and by boat for several days, and then, finally, with only a few pennies left in his pouch, arrived in Philadelphia, where he soon found a job in a printing house. He worked hard, saved his money, and continued to educate himself. And it wasn't long before he had a printing shop of his own. When he was 23, he started a newspaper called the Pennsylvania Gazette. Most of what was printed in it he wrote himself, and it served to prepare him for the writing of his famous Poor Richard's Almanac. In the almanac, Ben could comment on anything that struck his fancy. In it he recorded the days and months of the year. He told of the risings and settings of the sun, the moon, and the stars. In a rather unreliable way, he foretold the weather. Along with all of this valuable information, Ben included jokes, poems, and wise sayings for his readers to enjoy and consider. Poor Richard's Almanac was published for the first time in the early 1730s and continued to appear for 25 years in a row. It found its way into all parts of the colonies, and in many a home was the only book besides the Bible. Perhaps you're familiar with some of the many clever sayings found in Franklin's Almanac.
A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Make haste slowly. If your head is wax, don't walk in the sun. Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Now, just about the time Ben Franklin was publishing his first almanacs, a small boy on a farm in the colony of Maryland was beginning to discover the world about him.
And they all lived happily ever after.
Look, Grandma. See how beautiful it sparks across the sky?
Yes, Benjamin, that's a shooting star.
It's gone. Grandma, where did it go? Grandma, where did it go?
I don't know, Benjamin. Come. Perhaps a good book can tell us.
It doesn't say anything here about shooting stars.
I know, Benjamin. You know, you're a very bright boy, and you read very well. I'm sure that someday you'll find the answer, and you'll be able to tell all of us why a star falls.
Grandma, I will find the answer.
Benjamin Banneker was born in 1731 near Baltimore, Maryland. He was born free and lived with his parents and grandparents on a large farm. In school, his favorite subject was arithmetic, and he was always the brightest mathematician in his class. When his father died, Benjamin, as a young man, took over the large Banneker farm. And though his chores kept him busy from dawn to dusk, he still found time to tutor himself in mathematics. And then, in 1761, at the age of 30, Banneker accomplished a most remarkable feat. He constructed a clock that kept perfect time, carving its many intricate parts entirely from wood. It was the first such clock ever made in America. Well, it wasn't long before Banneker was recognized as one of the most brilliant mathematicians in the colonies. Now, meanwhile, Benjamin Franklin was becoming a person of importance. He no longer had to run his printing presses, but could hire others to do the work for him. This left him free to spend more time on his studies and his experiments. He studied the weather to learn the cause behind storms. He was one of the first landowners in America to try raising crops scientifically. He invented the Franklin stove, a metal firebox that produced considerably more heat than the open hearth fireplaces used then. And he doggedly pursued the mystery behind electricity.
If lightning were simply electricity, would it not be possible for us to protect our homes and churches against its bolts by attaching long iron rods as this to the side of the house, implanting its lower end into the ground, with its higher end rising several inches above the roof? Then, if lightning struck, it would be attracted to the pointed rod atop the roof and would flow down through the rod into the ground without doing damage to the house or the people inside it.
To support this theory, Franklin conducted his famous kite-flying experiment in which he and his son William flew a kite through dark thunderclouds. Ben attached a small metal key to the lower end of the kite string, and sure enough, the kite drew electricity from the clouds, and that electricity was conducted down along the string to the key, which then gave off sparks. Ben Franklin was busy in other ways, too. For example, he started the first public library in America, founded the first insurance company, and as Postmaster General of the colonies, established the postal system as it now exists in the United States. In 1756, he traveled to England as ambassador for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, remaining in Europe for about 19 years, where he distinguished himself as a wise, witty, and highly esteemed international statesman. Meanwhile, American patriots had been growing restless under the increasing tyranny of British rule. In London, Franklin, defending the principles of his fellow patriots, took on the British Parliament, protesting its treatment of the colonies.
Dr. Franklin, England has defended the colonies against the French, against the Indians. We shall continue to do this, but it is expensive. It is necessary for you to help pay the cost of your defense. You can do this by putting stamps on your newspapers, your almanacs, your advertisements, your contracts, your games. Then merely buy these stamps, as you should in goodwill, from His Majesty's government.